Amateur radio newsline will start in 5 minutes. W8WKY.
Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2410 with a release date of Friday, January 5th, 2024, to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. Hams in Sri Lanka practice lessons learned from disasters. Mobile base stations get new frequencies. And a 50-year friendship is reignited thanks to amateur radio. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2410 comes your way right now.
From around the world, this is Newsline, amateur radio's first independent, on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now, reporting from Wadsworth, Ohio, Stephen Kinford, N8WB.
The date, December 26th, holds a double significance for amateur radio operators in Sri Lanka. It's the reminder of a horrifying event and a call to action, an action which they took recently to be prepared for next time. Graham Kemp, VK4BB, explains.
People who remember the deadly Indian Ocean tsunami that swept over parts of a number of southern Asian nations, including Sri Lanka in 2004, are not likely to forget it. Those who attended a special emergency communications drill on December 26, 2023, just short of 20 years later, will likely not forget the lessons learned. The Tsunami Commemorative Disaster Preparedness Drill was held on the anniversary date by the Radio Society of Sri Lanka and the Amateur Radio Civil Services Network to nurture what the partner groups called, and I quote, our collective readiness for swift and effective responses in times of crisis, end quote. Mobile operations and first aid training were just part of the 6-hour program. The exercise emphasized efficient setup and operation from the field and reviewed the best ways to prioritize traffic. Participants practiced field repeater setups and reviewed how to establish a command center. Sri Lanka was one of 14 countries devastated by that 2004 tsunami that was triggered by an earthquake beneath the Indian Ocean. Nearly 250,000 people perished. This is Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
Mobile band communication gained new parts of the spectrum at the World Radio Communications Conference late last year. We have those details from John Williams, VK4JJW.
One of the agreements to emerge from the recent World Radio Communication Conference in Dubai is the expanded spectrum becoming available for use by certain mobile base stations internationally. The designated parts of the spectrum are at 700 to 900 megahertz, 1.7 gigahertz, and 2.5 gigahertz. This is intended to give greater flexibility to operators around the world making use of HAPS mobile broadband communication, also known as High Altitude Platform Station Communication. According to the International Telecommunications Union, any fixed-point radio station situated 20 to 50 kilometers above Earth is a high-altitude platform station. The company that's led the spectrum expansion proposal for the past few years is the SoftBank Corporation. The Japanese company has been studying international standardization for such use since the issue was put on the WRC 2023 agenda 4 years ago during WRC 2019. HAPS technology has also been recognized as useful for communications during disaster recovery, especially when storms or other events have left terrestrial networks damaged. This is John Williams, VK4JJW.
Free weekly classes are about to start online for hams hoping to obtain their extra class license, as we hear from Neil Rapp, WB9VPG.
If upgrading your U.S. operating license class from general to extra is one of those items on your already long list of ham radio New Year's resolutions, the National Electronics Museum in Hunt Valley, Maryland is ready to help you make good on your word. January 18th marks the start of the free weekly online classes the museum offers via Zoom on Thursdays for 11 weeks. The 3-hour sessions begin at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At other times of the year, the museum offers similar classes for those wanting to test for the technician and general class. Hams who are enrolling for this course should purchase a copy of the ARRL license manual for extra class amateurs. Those who live within driving distance of the museum are also eligible for the free in-person examination session that is held at the end of the 11-week instruction. The museum is home to amateur radio station K3NEM, which holds its monthly meetings on Zoom. For more details about the classes or the museum itself, visit their website, which is in the text version of this week's newscast at arnewsline.org. This is Neil Rapp, WB9VPG.
The conference known as MapCon ended last month, but satellite enthusiasts in India are hoping that the lessons of the three-day event in Gujarat will endure. Jason Daniels, VK2LAW, brings us that story.
Workshops, student competitions, tutorials and exhibits were the mainstays of MapCon 2023, an acronym for Microwaves, Antennas and Propagation Conference in mid-December. This year, the International Forum for Sharing Technology and Research among Professionals was able to share the spotlight with amateur radio, with a focus on the ham satellite community. An exhibit designed by AMSAT India helped its regional coordinator Rajesh Vagadia, VU2EXP, demonstrate the vital role that ham radio and satellites play in education. The exhibit was viewed by hundreds of people from industry, government, defence and research. Writing in the QRZ.com forums, Rajesh said the exhibit tried to cover all possible applications from HF, UHF and VHF radios to logbooks, QSL cards, satellite models and test instruments. He wrote, quote, "We tried our best to cultivate the seeds of amateur radio, hoping to get some fruitful results," end quote. He was assisted by his niece, Shayama Vagadia, VU3WHG, a student member of the IEEE's Gujarat chapter. He added, quote, "It was a great time for us to be in this top conference for professionals, yet representing amateurs," end quote. This is Jason Daniels, VK2LAW.
India's HamSat, the microsatellite decommissioned in 2016, has been replaced following the New Year's Eve launch of a small satellite created by students. The Somaya BeliefSat-0 takes its name from the KJ Somaya Institute of Technology. The project's faculty coordinator, Umesh Shinde, VU3CDI, told local media that he expected it to become, quote, "a crucial player in the realm of global amateur radio," end quote. The satellite has a UHF to VHF FM repeater and VHF digipeater sending APRS standard telemetry every 30 seconds. Broadcasters and radio amateurs alike have lost a friend in Michigan. We hear about him from Dave Parks, WB8 ODF.
Charles Edward Rich, W8GCW, was an amateur radio tinkerer, leader, and dreamer whose long lifetime in the hobby left an indelible mark in the ham universe near his Michigan home. Chuck, as he was known, became a silent key on the 28th of December. He was also inspired by his amateur radio father, who was also named Charles. On his QRZ.com page, Chuck recalls how he and his father would spend hours at the kitchen table practicing CW by passing the key back and forth between them to improve their proficiency. By age 16, young Chuck had his license, and the next year he set up a radio and antenna on his bicycle to use when he was out riding it. He later became a leader in the Holland Amateur Radio Club, serving as its president, publishing its newsletter, and teaching Morse code. His love of amateur radio also led him to a career in broadcast radio in Michigan and Pennsylvania, where he had a series of jobs, including disc jockey and news reporter. In 1971, he became the owner and operator of WZND-FM radio that served the local Michigan communities until late 1986, when he and his partner sold the station. According to his QRZ.com page, his enthusiastic on-air activity included both home and mobile stations, and he spent time on Echolink and IRLP. Chuck was 89. This is Dave Parks, WB8ODF.
This is a reminder that you have a few days left to work special event station W2HRU and then attend Ham Radio University on Long Island, New York, on Saturday, January 6th. This marks HRU's first in-person event since the COVID-19 pandemic and is the 25th anniversary of the educational conference. Ham Radio University is also the ARRL's NYC Long Island Section Annual Convention. It will be held, as before, at Long Island University in Brookville, Long Island, New York. For a full schedule, visit hamradiouniversity.org. For information about contacts with W2HRU, see the special event stations page on QRZ.com. Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the East Coast Reflector 9050 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sundays. Kit, Swan, and Collins Equipment, you have a lot in common with hams in the UK who have great affection for products made by KW Electronics. This month, many of those hams have set aside time on the air for a big celebration, as we learned from Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
There's a lot of history behind the two letters K and W if you're talking about radios, antennas, and other equipment built for the amateur radio market in the years following World War II. The name of KW Electronics Limited in Kent, England, was derived from the call sign suffix shared by its founders Rowley Shears, GKW, and Ken Ellis, G5KW. Although the company was eventually purchased by the Decca Group, amateur radio loyalty remains steadfast, especially in the UK. Hams are getting on the air with the vintage equipment to mark KW Weekend on the 6th and 7th of January. They'll be using special call signs ending in those two letters. One amateur, Kev, GW0PUH, has taken his commitment to the older radios a bit further and is already operating in another celebration all month. He's on the air as GB9KW until the 28th of January. Off the air, you can still connect with KW enthusiasts on the internet. A groups.io site allows devoted owners or simply admirers to post their questions and thoughts about the equipment and related issues. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
The ARRL has awarded its prestigious Hiram Percy Maxim Award for 2023 to a Texas teenager for his leadership at a YouthNet and his promotion of amateur radio among members of his troop in the Trail Life USA organization. Paul Brown, WD9GCO, spoke with him.
Recognizing youth in amateur radio is something near and dear to our hearts here at Newsline. The ARRL just announced the winner of this year's Hiram Percy Maxim Award, and it's Sam Lovett, KI5RSV of Texas. I spoke with Lovett, and I asked him how he got interested in ham radio.
My dad's always had a radio in his truck, never transmitted, never got a license, because we always storm chased. Also got into this book called Backwoods Home Magazine, and I found one in 1992 that mentioned ham radio, and it sounded really interesting.
As to what in particular interested him the most about amateur radio, he told me,
I mean, there's so many aspects of ham radio. So far, the ones that have interested me most is contesting, improving my speed with CW, and vintage and classic equipment.
Lovett is very active in attracting other youth to the hobby. I asked what his plan was. He said,
lead by example, and I try to promote ham radio wherever I can. I've also done a lot of demonstrations of ham radio, and like every camp out, I sometimes pull out my radio gear and do a little demonstration of HF and how you can get QSOs around the world.
Congratulations, Sam, on a job well done. We here at Newsline encourage you to keep up the efforts and to keep spreading the word about our wonderful hobby. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Paul Brown, WD9GCO.
The ARRL has celebrated and honored others in addition to Sam Lovett. Its Volunteers on the Air operating events saw some operators logging nearly 30,000 QSOs throughout the year. Like Sam, other hams were honored with special awards as seen on the league's website. Here are two more honorees. Ohio's Lynn Alfman, N8IMW, received the Philip J. McGann Memorial Silver Antenna Award for her public service work and communication with the media. Joanne Keith, KA5AZK of Texas, was given the George Hart Distinguished Service Award, which is presented in recognition of selfless public service work. Licensed since 1987, she was recognized by the league for her role as net manager of the 7290 traffic net. The net first went on the air in 1953. In the world of DX, be listening for members of the Zurich City Police Radio Amateur Club, HB9SP, throughout the year, operating as HB20SP. The club is marking its 20th anniversary. See QRZ.com for details. Listen for Alex, K6VHF, who will be on the air as K6VHF/HR9 from Rotan Island, IOTA number NA-057, until the 10th of January. He will be operating with Paul, NO0T, and Bill, WT0DX. The team will use digital modes, SSB, and CW on 80 to 6 meters and hope to participate in the ARRL RIDI Roundup on the 6th and 7th of January. See QRZ.com for QXL details. Listen throughout the new year for the special call sign 9A100RKZ, marking the 100th anniversary of the Radio Club Zagreb. The club was founded on the 24th of March, 1924, QSL via 9A1ADE. Michelle F8GGV is on the air as TM700MP from the 5th to the 12th of January, marking 700 years since the death of the merchant and explorer Marco Polo, who opened up the Silk Road from Europe into many nations of Asia. QSL via Michelle's home call. The celebrated Scottish poet Robert Burns is often associated with the words in the traditional song sung at New Year's, Old Lang Syne. It is a song of farewell to things past and acceptance of time moving on. In these early days of 2024, however, we are reminded by this next story that some things of days gone by are worth recapturing and treasuring. And it can happen because of amateur radio. Here's Graham Kemp, VK4BB, with that story.
Gautam Ray is a retired banker and widower in Kolkata, whose only daughter lives in the United States. A lifetime ago, his college mate, Safuddin Ahmed Chowdhury, was as close as family to him when both were still university students. Missing the friend with the smiling face in those old black and white photographs from college, Gautam asked the West Bengal Radio Club for assistance. The club is known for helping to reunite missing family members, but could the Hams do the same for dear friends who were like brothers? And Barish Nag Biswas for U2 JFA, Secretary of the West Bengal Group, got in touch with Samsul Huda of the Amateur Radio Society of Bangladesh to see whether this small class reunion could happen for the men who've been apart since 1969. Gautam knew that his friend had long since left India for a teaching position in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and was active in theatre, and the Hams there set off on their search. Finding him took almost no time at all, according to news reports about the reunion. And Barish Nag Biswas told Newsline that on the 28th of December, the two talked over Zoom and made plans to meet up in February at the Kolkata Book Fair. Chowdhury told the local newspaper, "This is a new sunrise for both of us." No doubt 2024 will also be a new year for this very, very old friendship that could never be forgotten. This is Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
If you have a piece of amateur radio news that you think Newsline would be interested in, send it on. We're not talking about advertising your club's upcoming Hamfest or field day participation, but something that is out of the ordinary. If so, send us a brief overview via the contact page at arnewsline.org. If it's newsworthy and we'd like to cover it, we'll get back to you for more details. Meanwhile, if you're feeling even a little bit poetic, visit our website to learn more about the Amateur Radio Newsline Haiku Challenge. We are starting a whole new challenge for 2024, so get your entry in. Use the entry form on our website, and please follow the rules for writing your 3-line haiku, and be sure to check out our previous winners. With thanks to Amateur Radio Daily, ARRL, Associated Press, CQ Magazine, Daji World, David Bihar, K7DB 425 DX News, Ham Radio University, Hindustan Times, The Holland Sentinel, ITU, Kevin Larkham, GW0PUH, Millennium Post, National Electronics Museum, QRZ.com, shortwaveradio.de, Wireless Institute of Australia, YouTube, and you, our listeners. That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. We remind our listeners that Amateur Radio Newsline is an all-volunteer, non-profit organization that incurs expenses for its continued operation. If you wish to support us, please visit our website at arnewsline.org and know that we appreciate you all. We also remind our listeners that if you like our newscasts, please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you subscribe to us. For now, with Karen Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York and our news team worldwide, I'm Stephen Kinford, November 8, Whiskey Bravo, in Wadsworth, Ohio, saying Happy New Year and 73. As always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2024, all rights reserved.
W8WKY. Time out.
This is W8U8 testing.
W8UA, this is KD8SLG. Sounding pretty good there, Javan.
Alrighty, thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. I had torbarred the station earlier to do some testing elsewhere, and just wanted to make sure everything was working fully before the net. Thank you. W8UA.
The weekly Serenet, featuring club news, trivia, and check-ins from some of the nicest hams in the universe starts in 5 minutes. Get ready for the weekly Serenet starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
CQ. This is W8WKY calling CQ for the Silvercreek Amateur Radio Association Tuesday night net. Net control this evening is Javan W8UA. This net uses the club call sign Whiskey 8 Whiskey Kilo Yankee for all traffic. This is a control net, and all traffic must pass through net control, while emergency traffic may break into this net at any time. Sarah meets on this repeater every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., and this net is open to all licensed amateurs, and any amateurs encouraged to check in and join us. The PL tone for this repeater is 114.8. Tonight we'll go through some announcements followed by a round of in and out check-ins. Then we'll move to our regular check-ins and get our trivia question. Here are tonight's announcements. Thursday, January 18, we have yet another club meeting at the Wadsworth Eagle Hall. The topic is yet to be determined, but be sure to get it on your calendar. The following Saturday, on January 20th, the Ohio Area's VHF Simplex contest will be making its yearly occurrence. Prepare your VHF and UHF equipment to test its functionality using Simplex or direct station-to-station contacts. And finally, on February 3rd, we have yet another license exam session at the Wayne County Justice Center in Worcester. Go to wawky.org to sign up today. All of these announcements can be found on our website, again, w8wky.org. With that, are there any other individuals with announcements this evening? If you have announcements, would like to add them to the net, please call now. All right, with no announcements heard there, we will open it up to any in and out check-ins. Anybody who's wishing to check in and out to this net this evening, please call W8WKY.
Whiskey Bravo 8, Victor Mike Whiskey, Jim in Barberton.
Kilo Delta 8, Echo Papa Charlie, KD8 EPC, Dustin and Medina, in and out.
Whiskey Victor 3 Kilo, WV3K, Phil and Canal Fulton with no traffic, but good evening and God bless. Thank you, Javan, for your work for the event that we're having this evening. Thank you. WV3K, back to net control. W8UA.
Delta 8, November Echo Oscar, KD8, Northeast Ohio. Darrell and Holmes County, no traffic.
Kilo Echo 8, Juliet November Hotel, Doug and Rittman, in and out.
This is K8AMX, Dick in beautiful downtown Firestone Park, in and out.
KE8, IME, David, Sterling, Ohio, in and out.
Ski 8, Charlie Tango Mike, Carry at Portage Lakes, in and out.
Kilo Echo 8, Tango Lima Bravo, KE8 DLB. Evening, Javan, and good evening, everyone. I'll be in and out, 73, God bless.
In and out. KG7, IRJ, all in Nashville, in and out.
W8WKY.
All right, let me pick it up and read back who we've got. Okay, so far we've got WB8VMW, KD8EPC, WV3K, KD8NEO, KE8JNH, K8AMX, KE8IME, W8CTM, KE8TLB, and KG7IRJ. Anybody else in and out, please call.
Kilowatt Delta 8 Romeo Whiskey X-Ray, Scott and Crescent, in and out.
Kilo Echo, Zulu Hotel Golf, Duggan North.
Okay, for the in and out list, we added KD8RWX and KE8ZHG. Thanks, all you, for checking in and out. With that, let's move over to regular check-ins. If you're wishing to check into this evening's net, stick around, make a few comments, and answer tonight's trivia question. Now is the time to check in. Please call W8WKY.
W8WKY, this is Alpha 8, Charlie Sierra, AA8CS, Gary in Fairlawn.
Radio Yankee, KG8RRY, Jerry in Massillon, Ohio.
W8WKY, this is KE8VQX, Kilo Echo 8, Victor, Quebec X-Ray, Joe in Akron.
W8WKY, this is N8LTR on RF, the way it should be.
Kilo Echo 8 Uniform India Bravo KE8 UIB John in Massillon.
W8WKY, this is Kilo Delta 8 Sierra Lima Golf, KD8 SLG, Nick in Orville.
W8WKY, this is Kilo Alpha 8 Mike November Tango, Tom in Canton.
W8WKY, this is WO3X John in Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay, let me pick it up and read back who we've got. Alrighty, so far for the regular list, we have AA8CS, KG8RRY, KE8VOX, N8LTR, KE8UIB, KD8SLG, KA8MNT, WO3X, and KC8HDP. Anyone else? Regular check-ins for the Sarah Tuesday Night Net. Please call W8WKY.
November Tango 8 Delta, NT8D, Dave in Copley.
Kilo Echo 8, Victor Zulu Alpha, Eric in Strongsville, KE8VZA. Kilo Echo 8, Victor Quebec X-Ray. Javan, not sure if you got me right the first time.
W8WKY, this is Kilo Golf 4, Sierra Charlie Kilo.
Kelly in Tulsa.
Copy, Mark.
All right, let me pick it up here again. Okay, so first off, I had a correction. Instead of KE8VOX, it was VQX. Just couldn't read my, it's not even my writing, my typing, I guess. I don't know. No excuses. We got you corrected that time. I guess other call signs, NT8D was next, KE8VZA, KG4SCK, and then KE0LRM. Anyone else, please call.
Whiskey Delta 8, Lima Alpha, Neil and Brewster, I'll be in and out.
Alrighty, we got you, Neil, WD8LLA. We've got you marked in and out. Thanks for being here. And I think we finally got everyone in here who's been trying to check in. So with that, let's pass it over to Eric, W8ELM. He told me he has prepared a trivia question for you all. So, Eric, take it away, and let's hear it. How are you, Eric?
W8WKY, this is W8ELM with good evening, Javan, and everybody on the net. I am doing fine. For tonight's trivia, this YL, this young lady, was first licensed in 2004 with the call sign KE5AKW. Many years before that, her then close musician friend co-wrote a song inspired by her that became a hit. Again, this young lady was first licensed in 2004 with the call sign KE5AKW. Many years before, her then close musician friend co-wrote a song inspired by her that became a hit. Your question tonight: her musician friend at that time was A, Alpha, Ronnie Millsap, B, Bravo, Chet Atkins, C, Charlie, Joe Malden, D, Delta, George Harrison, or E, Echo, Buddy Holly. Let me get some time. Her musician friend at that time was A, Alpha, Ronnie Millsap, B, Bravo, Chet Atkins, C, Charlie, Joe Malden, D, Delta, George Harrison, or E, Echo, Buddy Holly. Back to net.
Alrighty, well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate you giving us that question this evening, and excited to hear what all everybody's going to answer. And I guess kicking that off this evening is our fearless leader, Gary, AA8CS. Good evening, Gary. How are you doing? And what's your answer to tonight's trivia question?
Good evening, Sarah and friends. Good to be here and good to hear everyone on the net this evening. And, of course, Eric, you leave no phase of intellectualism untouched. Or no area, let's put it that way. Okay, I have no idea. But I have a great guess. Yeah, you know it. I got a great guess. And I'm going to go not with Charlie. I know better than that. I'm going to go with Bravo. Bravo for beautiful. Okay. I don't have a whole lot for the net tonight. I am looking forward to our next meeting and getting this year off to a rambunctious start. That's what I'm looking forward to. But I do want to make this announcement. KA8OAD, a.k.a. Digital Ken Dorsey, is going to have a really pertinent presentation for us coming up in January here. community service in ham radio. I hear a lot of times people asking me, how do I get involved with, and blah, 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 and we have had an influx of new folks in the Aries group, and it's just a great way to give back. But anyway, Digital Dorsey is going to have a real nice presentation in that area. So that's really all I have. 73 to all. Enjoy the evening, and we will see you a week from Thursday. Be there or be square. W8WKY, this is AA8CS, and great job again, Eric, and fabulous job on your part as well, Javan. AA8CS, back to net.
Alrighty, Gary, we've got you down here for B, a trivia question, and great to hear about the upcoming club meeting. Always great presentations from Ken, so looking forward to this upcoming one. So, very cool. Thank you for that. You have a good evening, Gary. Next up on the list is Jerry, KG8RRY. Good evening, Jerry. How are you doing? It's been a while since we've talked. What's your answer to tonight's trivia question?
Well, good evening, Eric. Good evening, everybody on the net, KG8RRY. Well, let's see. The person speaking at the upcoming meeting is, what did you say, Digital Dave? So digital begins with D and Dave begins with D, so I guess I'll say D, Delta. How's that some reasoning? Anyway, good evening, everybody on the net. I noticed, the weatherman said the wind was supposed to pick up at 10 o'clock. I noticed here about a half hour ago at our place here at Maslin, the wind has kicked up considerably and is banging the antennas around right now out back, so might be a good time after the net ends to go out and check all your guy wires and check your stakes down in the ground. Make sure that everything is guyed and everything is going to survive the night. Because once the wind kicks up here to full strength, about 10ish, I guess it's going to go all night long and all through the day tomorrow. So this is not the time you want to leave the antenna farm unattended. What else is going on? A couple things here real quick. I noticed that down here in Stark County, for those who may be on the Stark County line or whatever, beginning in March, there are some FEMA things going on, some ARIES things going on. The FEMA classes, they're going to have classes like for the EMA thing, and it's going to start on March 7th. They're going to do the what they call the NIMS 100. March 14th, March 21st, and 28th, these will all be Homeland Security classes, and they're going to have them out on the Stark Safety Building out on 62. I also noticed that for those who have gone to this perhaps in the past, because this is recommended every year, the spring of 2024 Skywarn training is going to take place again this year at the Jackson High School. It's going to be March 20th at 6 o'clock p.m. And one other thing, I don't know whether this happened to anybody except for me, but I thought we weren't going to get any QST magazines anymore. Imagine my surprise when January's magazine showed up, and I did not pay extra to get the magazine this year. I'm wondering, was it just a mistake? Was I the only one who got a magazine? Or did they just, out of the graciousness of their hearts, send everybody a QST? Inquiring minds want to know. And with that, Eric, that's it from here. I'll say my 73. Hope everybody had a great new year. Here's to a great year, guys. A great year in ham radio. Hope everybody does well. Hope that you are well, healthy, and prosperous, and that it all goes your way. So back to you, Eric, and back to the net. 73 all from KG8RRY.
Alrighty, very good, Jerry. Well, we got you down for D for the trivia question, and I am glad that you got the QST, the print QST, because when I renewed my, my ARRL subscription this year, I was surprised to see the increased cost. But not only that, but the addition of the expense for the print QST. I don't know, but I guess I digress. I'm starting to sound like a grumpy old ham now. But I was a bit surprised to see that myself, but hopefully you do get a free year of QST print. I do know there's a lot of additional expenses they're incurring, and all the printing stuff. There was some huge expense there that on Scott's talk he talked about, and a lot of stuff. So whatever it takes, I guess, to keep them afloat, that's good for sure. So very good there, Jerry, and thanks for the notification of the training. I appreciate you making us all aware of that. All right, next up on the list is Joe, KE8VQX. Sorry for missing your call there earlier, Joe. Also similar to Scott, so I don't believe it's on tonight. But good evening, Joe. How are you doing? And what is your answer to tonight's trivia question?
W8WKY, this is KE8VQX. Yeah, I don't blame you for missing that call sign. I often miss it myself when I hear him on there. KE8OV or VOX. Anyways, I'm going to go with A Alpha, Ronnie Millsap. I really don't know. No idea. So anyway, that's all I got. So this is KE8VQX back to W8 Whiskey Kilo Yankee.
Alrighty, very good, Joe. Well, thank you for that. We got you down for A for the trivia question, and good to hear from you. Hope you have a great evening. All right, next up on the list here is N8LTR. Good evening, Bill. How are you doing, and what is your answer to tonight's trivia question? This is W8WKY.
Good evening to Javan and the group. Oh, well, Chet and Ronnie were both licensed. Chet's gone. Ronnie's still here. I'm going to say A. I don't know, and those are the only two guys I know that held licenses, so I'll take a wild guess and throw the dart and say A, and we'll see how that shakes out. Otherwise, yeah, I was looking for a weather window today to go take Christmas lights down. I didn't get it, and as someone mentioned on the other net, it's going to heck in a handbasket here in a few days. Bottom falls out on Sunday, and then it's going to be northern Minnesota-like conditions for the next 2 weeks. So, and those Christmas lights just might stay up unless I can find a little eke in a window some Thursday, dress warm, and get them pulled and down. Other than that, not much else going on. Back to you, sir. Good night. W8UA in the group and LTR.
Alrighty, very good, Bill. Got you down for A for the trivia question, and if you don't mind me passing it back over to you, I was going to ask you, I know you usually make some big plans for the VHS Simplex contest. Do you have some newer antennas up that you're going to be using on the air for VHF and UHF? Back to you, Bill.
Well, I do. I have a 50-foot tower went up on November 15th, and it's got a Hustler G7 at 60 feet, and it's fed with LMR 600 to the shack with a 400-watt amplifier for 2 meters. I'm not sure I'm going to take the plunge and participate this year, though. They rewrote the rules, and I was really not happy with how they rewrote the rules. It's all, it emphasizes digital, and absolutely pulled the plug on some of the bands that need a little extra attention, like 6 meters and 220, where would have been a good time to beat the bushes and chase people out of their doldrums and get that equipment on the air, and that kind of was an opportunity squandered. But oh well. So I'll probably flip a coin as it gets a little closer, Javan. Back to you, sir, from N8LTR.
All right, Bill, very good. Well, thanks for sharing. And for those who don't know, for those who haven't participated in the Simplex contest before, Bill is usually one of the loudest signals on the band, at least from Rittman / Wadsworth here, in between the two. So Bill, I encourage you to get on. Just looking at the kind of the scoring here, and looks like the digital you had mentioned there is still all simplex. So even though it might be between digital capable radios or software running on your PC, it's still all no use of the internet, no use of repeaters, and so kind of all in the spirit of the entire simplex operation. So, and kind of all will still operate whenever it hits the fan. So, we'll see what happens with that. I think it should be nice to have some of these additions here and get everybody practicing, because there have been a lot of changes in people moving to DMR and D-Start. Getting some of that operation converted over to simplex will be really nice. So we'll see what happens there. Hope to hear you on the air, Bill, and good luck with all the antenna setups. Sounds like you got some big antennas over there. All right, next up on the list is Bill, KE8. I'm not sure what I was thinking there. It's John up next, KE8 UIB. Good evening, John. How are you doing? And what's your answer to tonight's trivia question?
W8WKY from KE8UIB. Good evening, Javan, everybody out there on the net. Oh, my answer. Let me see. Well, everybody knows on Tuesday nights, usually my mom and dad try to scan in and listen in, and they're messaging back and forth. They think it's A, but I think tonight I'm going to go ahead and go with Echo since nobody's chosen E yet, and that'll be my answer, and we'll just see where it ends up. So this is definitely one I don't even have a clue on. So, hey, we'll just see how it goes. But with that, I hope everybody's doing good tonight and stuff, and staying dry and avoiding the windy weather, that's for sure. So, and hope everybody stays safe. With that, this is KE8UIB, living a $5 dream, a nickel at a time. I'm going to hand this back to Net. 7-3, y'all.
All righty, very good, John. Well, sounds good about that. We've got you down for E, and want to have Eric mark on his end. Got John's mom and dad listening along down for A, so very good. Thank you, John. Have a good evening, and I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we will talk again soon. All right, next up on the list is Just Nick, KD8SLG. Good evening, Nick. How are you doing? And what's your answer to tonight's trivia question? It's W8WKY.
W8WKY, this is KD8SLG. Good evening, Javan, and everybody here on the Sarah Tuesday Night Net. It's good to be here. Let's get trivia out of the way first. I'm going to listen to John's parents and N8LTR there and go with A, Ronnie Millsap tonight, Alpha. That's going to be my answer. My guess. I DQ'd a few of them because of dates, I think. So there's that. Kind of excited about the meeting next week. It's going to be good to see everybody. It seems like a long time since we've been together. And I'm particularly excited because, for those of you who know Nick and Sandy from Cibolo, Texas, KF580E and KG5SYC, we befriended them last summer, and they went to a meeting and dinner with us, and they're going to come to a meeting and dinner again. At least they're planning on it. Weather permitting, of course. So, looking forward to that. Hope to hear everybody on the radio between then and now. Don't forget about the Boredom Breaker Net tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, and the Beacon Net every Sunday and Wednesday at 10 o'clock, early check-ins at 9:30. KD8SLG, back to net control. Thanks, Javan.
Alrighty, very good, Nick. Well, sounds good. Look forward to, for those who are able to make it, the dinner beforehand at the Casa Nuestra at the club meeting, before the club meeting. See Nick and Sandy, and, of course, at the club meeting as well. So, very cool. Thank you for sharing, Nick. Hope you have a great evening, and got you down for A for the trivia. Alrighty, next up on the list here is Tom, KA8MNT. Good evening, Tom. How are you doing? Take it away.
W8WKY, this is KA8MNT. Good evening, Javan, and everybody else on the net. I'm doing pretty good, I guess, this evening. Let's see here. Let's get the trivia out of the way. And eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm going to go with Echo, Buddy Holly, just because I can. Okay. Well, I kind of got back at a Michigan fan this evening. We went out to eat, and this guy come in with a Michigan championship jacket on that had 11 championships on it, which they have had. But he sat down and he said, "This one's out of date." He says, "We've got 12 now since, you know." And I was sitting there kind of being a braggart. So we got up to leave. I looked at him and told him, "You know, a blind squirrel finds an acorn once in a while." And turned around and walked away. He kind of glared at me all the way out the door, but hey, I don't care. But that was my fun for this evening. And we're looking forward to being on here in the morning with the barometer net and causing more hassles there. So with that, I'm going to turn everything back over to W8WKY. So be good, stay healthy, and keep smiling. KA8MNT clear.
Alrighty, very good, Tom. Well, good to hear from you this evening. Thanks for checking in and joining us. And we got you down for E. Alrighty, next up on the list is John, WO3X. Good evening, John. How are you doing, and what's your answer to tonight's trivia question?
Good evening, Javan, and all on the net. This is WO3X. Doing pretty good here. Nothing blew over or anything with the wind. Let's see, for the Simplex contest, I put my MFJ 1538 back up. I did have a 10-meter 5/8 wave vertical there for a while, but I wasn't getting the results on that band with that antenna that I was expecting. So I put the MFJ 1538 back up, which does do the 220 megahertz band also. But I won't be using that capability of that antenna during that contest. But let's see, on the 13th, I will be participating in the WASH 2-meter simplex contest. That's a Pittsburgh area contest. And if I make some contacts and send my log in, a paper log, mail it in, then that qualifies me for a door prize ticket, which I will pick up at that Hamfest on February 25th. My two brothers will be there, and my nephew. So we have like a ham reunion there for that event. Let's see here. On the trivia question, let's see, what did I figure here? Okay, yeah. I too am also gonna go with E-Echo, Buddy Holly. So with that, back to the net. W8WKY, this is WO3X.
W8WKY.
Alrighty, very good, John. Well, I hope to hear you on the air as well for the VHF Simplex contest. I know we've talked a couple times before on that, so look forward to that. And we got you down for E for the trivia question answer. So thank you for that, and I hope you have a good evening. All right, next up on the list here is Jerry, KC8HDP. Good evening, Jerry. How are you doing? Take it away.
Well, good evening, Javan, and good evening to everyone on the net. I am doing okay. Good to hear everyone on the net this evening. Good evening to you, Eric, as well. Boy, another interesting question here, which I'm going to answer before I forget. I have never heard of Joe Malden, and no one's picked it yet, so I'm going to see what that does. I'm going to pick Charlie for my answer. Familiar with the other four for sure, but never heard of Joe Malden. Yeah, the wind picked up a little bit before the net here in Shreve, and my electric flickered a few times, but since then it's settled down, so it hasn't flickered anymore. So I was wondering if I was going to have to be on the net on battery power, but didn't go out. Yeah, looking forward to the Simplex contest. I've never participated in the ARRL Simplex contest, which is all weekend, the same weekend as the Ohio Aries one, and I should look and see maybe 220 is included in that. I don't know. But anyway, don't have anything else, so I'm going to send it back to you, Javan. W8WKY and the net from KC8HDP 73.
Alrighty, very good, Jerry. Well, we got you down for C for the trivia question, and it's great hearing from you. I'm glad you were able to check in on AC power, and sounding great this evening. So have a good one, and we'll talk to you again soon. Alrighty, next up on the list is Dave, NT8D. Good evening, Dave. How are you doing?
Oh, good evening, Javan, everybody on the net, anybody who might be listening, John's parents, good evening. Nice to have you aboard. Check us out on the Bravo Net in the morning. John always checks in, going out to make them nickels, live that dream. I'm doing okay, just tired. Everything's getting back into the busy part of being a working person after the holidays. I went into the void for a week between the holidays and literally just kind of disappeared. It was kind of nice. But I'm back at it. I got my official letter from the IRS today, and they said they're going to treat me as an S-Corp. So how about that? So I'm trying to learn accounting. That's my latest chore. If anybody's got any hints or help, I'll take it. But anyways, it's going pretty well. Getting ready just to kind of hunker down into this weather. Somebody asked me to go down to New Philadelphia today, and I said, nah, I don't think so. Maybe next week. And I think that was a good decision. I was in Akron, and today I stuck local. It's going to be cold next week, but as long as the roads aren't wet and slippery, I won't mind. If the roads are dry, it's fine. It was pretty cold and slushy, and a few icy spots even this morning. But it warmed up a little bit during the day and melted off a little bit. Boy, nicely Ohio, isn't it? Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and say A as my wild guess for Eric's trivia. Thank you, Eric. And I'll send it back to W8WKY. We'll catch everybody soon. NT8D.
Alrighty, very good, Dave. Well, hopefully everything goes well with work, getting back into that full-time schedule, and good luck with figuring out the whole tax code stuff. I don't envy you at all. So, good luck. And we got you down for A for the trivia question. Thanks for that. All right, next up on the list is Eric, KE8VZA. Good evening, Eric. How are you doing? Take it away. This is W8WKY.
W8WKY in the group. This is KE8VZA. Good to hear you, Javan. Good to hear everyone else out there. Hope everybody's having a nice transition into the new year. I am. Everything's going pretty well here. Trivia, before I forget, I also am going to go with Alpha. I think I read something about this, but I think also several of these names popped up in whatever I read. I think it was when I was looking for a trivia question for the BeaconNet at one point. But I'm going to go with Alpha, Ronnie Millsap. For some reason, he stands out beyond the others in my mind, which may not be saying much in the end. But anyway, I too was in the void, like Dave and others, between Christmas and New Year's, and I kind of miss it. But hey, you can't live there forever. But it's a good place to visit once in a while. Anyway, been visiting the rec center regularly since the beginning of December. Stopped off there tonight too. Did some walking on their track and dip in the pool. Was all good. Feels great. 10-meter Nor's 10-meter net tonight wasn't that great for me. Tried using my vertical, but it just doesn't hear as well as my dipole. Did make some contacts Saturday on my dipole, 2 in Colorado and 1 in the Gulf of Mexico on a cabin cruiser, a maritime mobile. That was pretty cool. Tried for some others, but they were having some severe pileups, and I just didn't get in there. Canada and Dominican Republic, too. I tried that one. Anyway, we'll keep trying, keep playing with the antennas, and that's about all I have now. Thanks for doing the net, Javan. And 73, everybody, I'll be listening out to the end of the net. KE8VZA, back to net control.
Alrighty, very good, Eric. We'll got you down for A for the trivia question answer, and glad that the, I guess it doesn't sound like a New Year's resolution since December, you say, but the exercise is going well, so very cool. Well, have a good one, and we will talk again soon. Next up on the list here is Mark, KG4SCK. Good evening, Mark. How are you doing?
Hey, good evening, Javan, and everybody on the net. Doing well, thank you. One of the things that keeps me going, looking forward to next week, is Eric's questions. And, my, this is another good one. Never heard of Joe Molden, and most everybody else on the list is dead. Except I don't think Ronnie Millsap is. I think he's still shaking, and so with that and this girl call sign in 2004, I'm hoping Ronnie's still simplexing with his girl there. That's it. So I'm going to lean towards Alpha like the majority, I think, now. And Eric just confirmed I was doing some experiments on the balcony trying to see if I could hear the Norse 10-meter net tonight. Showed some pictures to Nick. He said I looked like Edison about to electrocute some elephants. Well, I didn't hear nothing, so I don't even think I can electrocute an elephant. Let's see. That's it for me. I'm going to pick Ronnie Millsap, and I'll keep on experimenting. KG4SCK, back to W8WKY.
Alrighty, very good, Mark. Well, we got you down for A for the trivia question, and good luck with the antenna work. Hope it goes well, and we will talk again soon. Alright, next up on the list is Kelly, KE0LRM. Good evening, Kelly. How are you doing? What's your answer to tonight's trivia question?
Am I in there now? Okay. Sorry, I was having some trouble there with my Echolink for a second. Yeah, I think, I'm kind of like everybody else. I'm kind of thinking A, but because Ronnie, for some reason, I'm thinking Ronnie Millsap is a ham radio operator, but I can't be for sure. But just to be different, I think I'm going to go with D, George Harrison, because he was probably dead by then, but you never know. So that's my answer. We're not going to get hit with the kind of cold y'all got up there, but I'm sure we're going to get our share down here. Everybody's doing good up there, and wave a hand at Nick up there. He's always all right at me on the blue screen. Everybody have a good day, and I'll let you get on down the list there. And thanks for running that, and thanks for posting the trivia question for me. All right, everybody have a good one. I have 73s and back to net control.
All right, Kelly, well, I appreciate you checking in this evening. Good to hear from you. Hope you have a good evening, and we have you down for D Delta. Alrighty, with that, I believe it is time to send it over to Eric, W8ELM, to get the correct answer, not answer, but the correct answer to tonight's trivia question. We'll take some more check-ins after this, but I do want to get that answer from Eric in. So, Eric, take it away, W8ELM.
W8WKY from W8ELM. Thank you, Javan. And I'm going to read the question again very carefully. I want you to think about it. This young lady, this YL, was first licensed in 2004 with the call sign KE5AKW. Many years before, her then close musician friend co-wrote a song inspired by her that became a hit. And that was in about 1957, so it was long before she was licensed as an amateur radio operator. The correct answer, who was her close musician friend at that time, is Buddy Holly, who perished in a 1959 plane crash. So E was the correct answer there. And several of you did note that Ronnie Millsap is a ham. His call is WB4KCG. Chet Atkins was also a ham. He was first licensed as WB4CZD and later changed to W4CGP in 1998. Something guitar player was what that was supposed to represent. It was his vanity call. C, Joe Malden was the bass player for Buddy Holly's group, the Crickets. And the bass player never gets any recognition. So there's the old story, if you want to quiet down the bass player, put sheet music in front of him. D, George Harrison was the lead guitarist for the Beatles. And E, Peggy Sue Gerron, Gerron, of Lubbock, Texas, inspired Buddy Holly's hit tune, Peggy Sue. W8WKY from W8ELM.
Alrighty, very good, Eric. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for giving us that trivia question, and very cool. So, thank you for that. And as I had mentioned, we will now take some additional check-ins. We won't take amendments to anybody's answer, their trivia question answer, but we'll take any additional check-ins. Some stragglers out there, people who are late to checking in. If you're wishing to join us this evening, please call now. This is W8WKY.
I'm late. W8WKY, W88KOC. Javan, thanks for running the net. Thanks for taking my check-in. I hope you and everybody else in here on the net has a terrific Tuesday, what's left of it, and a good rest of the week. W8WKY from W88KOC.
K5, CFY, 805, Charlie, Foxtrot, Yankee.
KC8, FQB.
Kilo 8, Papa Juliet Whiskey, KHPJW.
Alrighty, we got WA8KOC in and out, K5CFY, KC8FQV, and K8PJW. Anyone else for the final call for check-ins for the Sarah Tuesday Night Net? Please call.
Whiskey Delta 8, Lima Lima Alpha.
All right, we got you, Neil, WD8LLA, checked in. We will get to you as well. First up at the top of the list is Ray, K5CFY. Good evening, Ray. How are you doing? What's your, I guess I was going to ask what your answer is. I'll let you answer it. How's it going, Ray?
WAKOC. Let's see here. K5CFY. Thanks for getting me in there. I just got through running the club net down here, and thought I'd say hi to everybody up there. Hope everybody's staying warm. And let's see. I didn't hear so I'm going to go with. I'll go with E. Yeah. So anyway, thanks for getting me in there, and 73, everybody stay warm, stay safe. K5CFY, back to you.
Good choice, Ray. How'd you know? Very good. All right, well, thanks for checking in. Great hearing you. I appreciate you joining us after your other net, and I hope you have a good evening. We'll talk to you again soon. Next on the list is Mark, KC8FQV. Good evening, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, KC8FQV. You know, actually, I didn't cough too much today. I did take cough syrup this morning while 1 o'clock when I left. I didn't do too much coughing today. I was at the hospital all day with my mom. And, yeah, they moved her over to now another hospital. She was in the ER. I guess they keep them around. Well, they could stay for a while until they find a room. They had specifications for the room because she has the flu, I guess. So they had to have another person with the flu, or they had to have a single room, a private room. Yeah, you start thinking about life. You know, there's all kinds of things that happen in life. You know, some people just take it with a grain of salt, but there's all kinds of things that happen in life. And that trivia was good. I didn't know it. I was wanting to, but once she said it, I wouldn't have known it anyway, so it's not a problem. But you know, everything else is going good. So we'll send it back to net control. Yeah, was going to go to Hillcrest, but now my aunt made a comment to me one day when I was talking to her a year or two ago that Hillcrest, Cleveland wants to have Hillcrest be the main campus. You know, they were downtown Cleveland. I don't know how many buildings they cover down there. But I was thinking of Aunt Lucy, how can they do that? Hillcrest, there ain't a lot. I mean, there's the room there, but there was a Walmart that has closed. So I guess maybe they eye that thing. But, you know, it's an interesting thing. These hospitals and our life in general, it can be interesting. So we'll send it back to net control, Javan, KCFQV.
Alrighty, Mark. Well, certainly wishing you and your mom, it sounds like the best there. Hopefully everything goes well, and really wishing you guys all the best. So let me know, Mark, how everything goes, and we will again hope that everything goes okay. So have a good evening, and we will continue on with the list here. Next up is Philip, K8PJW. Good evening, Philip. How are you?
W8WKY.
W8WKY, K8PJW. Good evening, Javan, and good evening to everyone out there. I just got connected up. I was at the Boy Scout meeting this evening and just got let out, so felt fortunate I could still make the net before you guys wound it up. So I think I'm going to go with Echo on the trivia, so we'll be down for Echo. Yeah, that's all I got for tonight. Hand it back to you. This is Kilo 8 Papa Juliet Whiskey. Back to the net.
Alrighty, very good, Philip. Well, glad you could join us here this evening. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll talk again soon. Next up on the list here is Neil, WD8LLA. Sorry about that. I was confusing in there with WD8LSM. Take it away, Neil.
WD8LLA. Good evening, Javan. Yeah, it's a tongue twister. Sounds like I'm tongue-tied. LLLLLA. Anyhow, I didn't hear the question. My wife and I have been playing rummy for the last 3 hours, and I just happened to walk in and hear the call, so I checked in. So I don't have any answers. And I think in the past 3 years, I've never got one right, so it really don't matter. So I hope everybody had a good New Year, and please stay safe in the future. That's all I got here. And Metropolitan Brewster, WD8LLA, back to net control.
Alrighty, very good, Neil. Well, we finally got the call sign corrected here, and very good. Thank you for the correction there. Well, I hope you have a good evening, Neil, and we'll talk again soon. Alrighty, with that, we had that was the final check-in there on the list for the final round of check-in. So I want to thank everybody for participating in tonight's net. Of course, Eric, WADLM, Bortley, for providing the trivia question. Greatly appreciate that as always, and thanks to all of the check-ins and listeners out there this evening. Y'all are extremely appreciated. Until then, until we talk again, 73, and have a good evening. This is W8 WKY. Repeater is now returned to normal amateur use, and I am clear. 7-3.
W80LM recheck.
Go ahead, Eric.
Well, thank you, Javan. I forgot to congratulate our winners tonight. KE8UIB went against his parents' advice there and got the correct answer. So good job, John, but I don't recommend doing that very often. Your parents spent a lot of time raising you, so you want to pay attention to them. KA8MNT Tom also had the correct answer tonight, and WO3X, also known as W03X John. So those were our 3 winners this evening. W80LM will be clear.
Alrighty, Eric. Well, thanks for jumping back in and giving that, and I apologize as well for not jumping in there. So thank you for that, Eric, and I appreciate it again. 7-3 all, W8 WKY.
This is KD8SLG. The WatchNet on the Millersburg repeater is going to start in a little over a minute and a half or so. It's KD8QGQ 146 Mark 670, negative offset PL tone 71.9. If you can make the trip, check in with Charlie. KD8SLG.
W8WKY.